Welcome to our Easter bake-along. Look at these simnel cakes, meringue nests, mini eggs and carlings. They're a symbol of the Easter story and of new life. Although, if you haven't lived in the northeast of England, you might not know about carlings. We have 3 Easter bakes that we hope you would have a go at baking too. Sheila has baked Hot Cross Buns. Nancy has made Pase eggs. That's a local Easter special too. And Sarah and Amy have made Easter nests. They're fun to make, yummy to eat, and remind us of the Easter message. But we are beginning with a bonus bake, the Easter Rocky Road. Because Happy Easter began with Jesus' rocky road to Easter. Sheila is going to read about how Jesus got crucified while you see the images of the rocky road and the recipe.
So this is the story from the Gospels in the Bible as to what happened on that first Easter. So there's a mix from all 4 Gospels, and these were written by the disciples who were there at the time or had it passed on to them from those who were there. So this was what happened. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning when the crucifixions took place. 2 robbers were crucified at the same time, one on either side of Jesus. Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive these people. They do not know what they are doing." Those who came to watch shouted insults at him and mocked him. "Look at you now! If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. Come down from the cross." One of the robbers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Messiah, God's chosen one." The other robber shouted back, "Don't you fear God? We deserve to die for our wrong deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." And turning to Jesus, he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus replied to him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." You know, Jesus could so easily have come down from the cross and saved himself. But love for each one of us and love for his Heavenly Father held him there. He died so that we might truly live. About midday, a thick darkness came over the whole of the land. The sun stopped shining for 3 hours. At 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Jesus felt utterly alone and separated from God. Someone in the crowd ran and offered him a sponge soaked in sour wine. But at that point, Jesus cried out, "It is finished." He gave up his spirit and died. And at that very moment, the earth shook. Rocks split apart. Tombs were opened up. And holy men and women who had died were raised back to life and appeared to many people in the city. Now that would be a shock to those who saw them. Also, the huge curtain in the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The centurion who was on duty was terrified by the earthquake and all that happened, and said to the soldiers, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Well, hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to be making some hot cross buns today and running through all the various symbols that remind us about Jesus' death and resurrection that we celebrate at Easter time. So I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that you're going to use. Here we have the strong plain flour. We have some sugar, a beaten egg, the spices, some butter or margarine, the mixed fruit and candied peel, and this is the yeast that I've had in some warm water and some sugar to start working. So those are our ingredients. Right, so first of all I'm going to add the flour into the mixing bowl. I'm cheating and using my mixer to do it all the hard work for me. I've got the sugar, which is going in, and a pinch of salt, and then I'm going to put the butter or margarine in there. I'm just going to start that off. It's rather noisy, so I will probably let it work away just for 2 seconds and then come back. Right, so the recipe actually asks us to rub the margarine into the flour mixture. So if you haven't got your mixer, then just do that by hand. And once it's nicely rubbed in, then we can add the beaten egg into the mixture. And we've got our yeast, which is our rising agent, and it's been added to warm water and a teaspoon of sugar, and as you can see it's really starting to rise up now. So that reminds us that when Jesus was crucified, 3 days later he rose from the dead, and the yeast is the symbolism for Christ rising from the dead. And I'm hoping that I have a better set of hot cross buns than my first attempt, which didn't rise at all. So let's hope that this goes a lot better. Okay, so I'm adding the yeast mixture into the flour, and this needs a really good mixing till it's all together. Right, so one of the ingredients which I've forgotten to put in is our mixed spice. So I've got some mixed spice and some cinnamon. And of course these remind us of early on the Sunday morning when the women went to take spices to anoint Jesus' body, which they expected to find in the tomb. So I'm just going to add the spices, which would normally be added to your dry ingredients right at the start. So to your flour and your sugar and butter, just add the spices at that point. So I'm just going to add them in now, and then it needs a really good knead. So just keep kneading it for about 10 minutes. Right, so I have my dough prepared, and it's always good to give it a really good knead. It's really quite hard work because you're supposed to knead the dough for probably about 10 minutes or so. Then of course we need to add all the dried fruit. What I'm going to do, this is my mixed peel and raisins and sultanas, which I'm going to mix in to the dough. So press them all in and then start and get them all mixed in, kneaded in. Always looks very easy when Mary Berry's doing it. It's never quite so easy when you're doing it yourself. Right, once you've got your fruit all mixed in, then you've got to leave it in a warm place to prove for about an hour. So you then go and do something else while that all begins to rise. So we'll come back in an hour and see how the buns are looking. Right, so in order to put some crosses on the top of the hot cross buns, I have mixed together some flour and some water, and just made it into a nice dough there, and give that a roll so that I can then make it flat enough to create some strings. And then if you just create some nice lengths of dough, so we'll come back to these later, just when the buns are ready to go into the oven. Well, here we are. The dough has been left for just over an hour and it's definitely risen, so I'm really pleased about that. It may not look that big, but it has definitely grown in size. So the next part of the process is to form it into buns. So this generally makes 8 buns, cutting it into 8, shaping them up, and then they've got to rise again. We divide our mixture, each one into 4, sort of wrap them up into little parcels, roll them round with your hand, like so, and then pop them onto a greased tray ready to go into the oven. When they're all ready, we'll let them prove again for another hour. Right, so I've divided the mixture into 8, put them into a bun shape, and they've now got to be covered over, placed in a warm, maybe it's on top of the oven, or if you have a warm airing cupboard or something to keep them, and hopefully they'll double in size. Right, so the buns have risen. I've popped the crosses on the top, and I'm now going to put them in the oven at 220 degrees, and they'll be in for 10 to 15 minutes. So let's see how they turn out. Well, the hot cross buns are out of the oven, and I'm very pleased with them. I've added a sugar glaze onto the top so that they're looking really bright and shiny, just as you would normally see them when you buy them in the shop. So I'm hoping that you have a lovely Easter. Maybe you will have a go at creating making some hot cross buns. And just as a little added symbol, when we look at the bottom of the bun, it just reminds us of the shape of the stone that was covering Jesus' tomb and that was rolled away before the women came on that first Easter morning. So enjoy and have a wonderful Easter, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus. Thank you. Now, early on the Sunday morning, after the Jewish Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Salome, and Mary, the mother of Joseph, went to the tomb where Jesus had been laid, in order to anoint Jesus' body with spices. As they walked along, they asked each other, "Who will roll away the huge stone from the entrance to Jesus' tomb?" But when they arrived, they found the stone was already rolled aside. And suddenly 2 angels appeared, clothed in shining robes, so bright that the women's eyes were dazzled at the sight. Terrified, they fell before the angels in fear. One of the angels spoke. "Don't be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He isn't here. He is risen, just as he said would happen. Go quickly and tell the disciples what has happened." And so the women hurried off, afraid and yet bursting with joy and excitement at all they had seen and been told.
In the church's calendar, we are in the season of Lent at the moment, as well as it being springtime. And so there's an old traditional rhyme that helps us to remember the different Sundays in Lent. And it's Tid, Mid, Misere, Carlin, Palm and Pase Day. So 1, 2, 3, first 3 Sundays, Tid, Mid, Misere. Carlin was Sunday when in the northeast of England people ate a dried pea, like a mushy pea. Palm Sunday, Sunday before Easter. Pase Day is Easter Sunday. So what I'm going to show you is how my family have always decorated their paste eggs for Easter Sunday. So what you need to have saved lots of onion skins over the last few weeks. You need your egg, hen's eggs, some newspaper squares, some wool that you've already cut into lengths, and maybe use some bits of flowers or leaves as well. So you take your egg, unboiled hen's egg, and I'm going to make a little nest out of onion skins. Sit it in the corner of the paper, and I might put some little flowers in there to imprint a pattern on the egg. So I wrap it up in the onion skins neatly around, and the colour is going to come out of the onion skin, so the more we use the better. Now you have to be very careful because you don't want to crack the egg as you're doing this. So wrap it around, get the corner of the paper, and you're just going to make a little parcel. So gently rolling it round, and tuck over one side, tuck the other side over, and continue rolling. So you've got a nice little parcel like that. Take your wool, wrap it around, course, it's always better if you have somebody here to help you tie your knot. But I've had lots of practice over the years. So I make a little bundle like that. I wrap it in newspaper so that when it's boiling in the pan, the egg is less likely to crack, and it keeps the onion skins nice and tightly around the egg. So I'll do another one. Take your egg, put it in the corner, lots of onion skins packed around, making that nice little nest to get that lovely deep brown colour. Tuck some little flowers in there, see if we can get a nice print of the flower. And start rolling from the corner very, very carefully. Tuck the side over and the other. Make your little bundle, and there it is. Wrap it twice around, do a little knot, and then do it the other way as well. Right, I'll only do 2, and pop them in a nice deep pan like that. Cover it with cold water, put it on the hob, bring it up to the boil, and then just let it simmer gently for about an hour. Turn the heat off and let it just cool down itself. And then all that colour will come out of the onion skins and onto the egg. So here's a couple I have done earlier. You can see it looks a disgusting mess, but it's always very exciting to see what's going to come out of the soggy bundle. I open it up. Oh, that's lovely. And you can see on there I've got a lovely little pattern of a little flower I put in there. Let's see what the other one's like. Squidgy mess. And they haven't cracked, so that's brilliant. And again, we've got some lovely little patterns on there. So what I do to make them look really pretty, like these, as I did before, is I get a tissue, a little bit of oil, any sort of oil, it doesn't matter, and I'm just going to give them a nice little polish so that they look really, really special. There we are. Now these are for Easter Sunday, Pase Egg Day. Eggs are a very important symbol for Easter because they symbolise new life. Little chicks coming out of eggs. In springtime there's lots of lambs being born, and it also reminds us of the Easter story of Jesus' resurrection from the dead and coming out from the tomb to a new life. So on Easter Sunday, what we have done in the past, of course not in the last year or two, as we come out from the Easter Sunday service, all the children would choose a paste egg, go out onto the village green and have an egg rolling competition. And the child who could roll it the furthest without the shell breaking, they were the winners and they got the prize. And also on Easter Sunday, I think particularly just in the northeast of England, we have jarping competitions. So everybody chooses a paste egg and you hold your paste egg in your hand. It doesn't matter whether it's blunt side up or pointed side up. Whoever's with you, they choose their paste egg and they will tap yours, and hopefully one doesn't break, but you keep taking it in turns with all the people there, tapping one, tapping the other, and the person whose egg lasts the longest without all the shell being broken, they're the winner. So that's what we have, jarping competition on Easter Sunday. So I hope you have a go at trying to decorate your eggs and see what you can create.
Hi there, today we're going to be making
Easter nest.
So what have we got to put in?
We've got shredded wheat, we've got 5 shredded wheat, we've got milk chocolate mixed with dark chocolate, and we have 250
Grams.
And then we have golden syrup, and we're going to put 2 tablespoons of them. And then we've got 75 grams of butter. And then we've got a big bowl, big glass bowl. And then last of all, we've got some mini eggs.
Great. So first we've got
a tablespoon, and we have a jug, and we have a microwave to melt the chocolate, and the milk chocolate and dark chocolate mixed together, the golden syrup and the butter in.
Okay, so first of all we're going to crush up the shredded wheat. So we can do those in the packets with a big karate chop. So it's easier to break them up in the packets just because it makes less mess. And Amy likes giving them a good bashing. Yeah. Okay.
One done.
Okay. Are you going to pour them in? Right, careful with that one because it's on its own and it's open.
I'm going to put
Right.
this one in there.
Yeah. Hold steady, make sure it goes in the bowl. Okay, so we've poured the shredded wheat in. Amy's done a really good job of karate chopping it, but we just need to get rid of those little bits. So if you crush up the bits that have got lumps in, yeah, take out the bit of paper and put that on one side and break all that up. So we're getting that all ready. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add our butter and our syrup into our jug of chocolate.
Golden syrup, not
Golden syrup.
not the black syrup.
Yeah, not treacle. Okay, so
And
if
we've
you
got
put that into the jug. Yeah.
We've made another batch.
And what are we going to be doing with these Easter nests, Amy?
We are going to give them to our teachers.
Yeah, right, that should be fine for that. So you're going to take them in for the teachers tomorrow, aren't we?
And it's denim day. And now I'm going to put the golden syrup.
Yeah.
Open it up.
Do you want me to hold the spoon?
No, I can hold the spoon. This is hard. I've got one.
So we're going to pour that in. Right, just watch what you're doing and pour it in.
I'm just going to take the syrup down, and I'm going to use the knife to get the
Okay, now you can put
syrup.
the other one in.
Yeah. Get over.
Brilliant. Okay, so put that down and pour that into the bowl, into the jug. Sorry. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the microwave to melt this. So we're going to put it in at 30 seconds at a time until it gets closer. Make sure that once you when 30 seconds are over, you give it a really good stir. If you
And
don't
I
have a
will show
microwave, if you don't have a microwave, you can put it on a pan of
I'm going to take
boiling
the
water in the
knife
pan.
and then put the knife down.
Okay, so I'll let you. Okay, so we've had the chocolate and butter and syrup in the microwave for about 2 minutes in 30-second bursts, haven't we? So now we're going to take it out and have a look. Have a look at it. So that's nice and melted now. So give it a stir and check if there's any lumps in. No? Okay, so we can now put it in our shredded wheat mix.
Yeah, the best thing to mix it is an 8. Take an 8.
Oh, okay.
So
That's what you've discovered, is it?
no, just copy it.
Right, okay.
There
Right,
is.
so
And then we are going to pour the chocolate into the
Is it hot?
Pause it. Ow.
Do you want me to take it? Right, we're going to pour it into the shredded wheat and we'll come back in a second. So we've got that poured out. It was just a little bit heavy for Amy and quite hot. So now we're stirring. Oh dear. So it just shows you need to be really careful when it's hot chocolate, don't you? So we're stirring that all together. And
Basically,
this looks amazing. We do use shredded wheat. Try not to get it all out of the bowl. We use shredded wheat, but if you wanted to use Rice Krispies or cornflakes, that's absolutely fine. I love I think the shredded wheat just looks really nice, but also
or you could use,
tastes good as well, doesn't it?
Or you could use cornflakes.
Yeah.
Like Rice Krispies cornflakes.
And what do you think Easter nests remind you of? Why do you think we make Easter nests?
Because Easter reminds me of birds laying their eggs in the trees, and it's spring,
Yeah.
and the flowers come out.
Yeah, we've got some lovely daffodils here, haven't we?
And we are going to get some flowers tomorrow for Misere and Mr. Johnson's the other ones. And I just love this recipe to make because you use mini eggs.
Yeah.
And you use shredded wheat, and mini eggs are like not healthy, but still.
Shredded wheat are, is that what the good thing about?
Shredded wheat is
one of your favourite things, mini eggs, isn't it? So,
yeah,
so
but
that's good.
I don't have it that often, and we are going to use
Cases ready.
baking cases.
So we've got our cupcake cases ready. You could just do this on a baking tray and just put them loose on the mixture loose and make it into sort of fairly rough nests. These are sort of round cup cases. That's just a little bit too much, Amy. We're using an ice cream scoop, so just make it level. You don't need to take any out of it, but we'll just try to make sure it's not too big a scoop. Scrape needs to be level, that's it. So we're aiming to get 12 out of this mixture. And you can use a muffin case or whatever you want to sort of put the cupcake cases in. And you can make them as big as you want as well. We're trying to get 12 out, so it just fits nicely to do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to just keep filling those up, and we'll come back when we've made the nests.
Let's close our eyes and say a prayer. Dear God, thank you for everyone who has been involved in the Easter bake. reminding us of your great love by sending your precious Son, Jesus, to die on a cross for our sins. And on Easter Sunday, we celebrate the power of the resurrection and the new life available to each one of us through faith in Him alone. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Well, I hope you are excited about baking along. Enjoy the wonderful baking smells as you think about who you could share your bakes with. Happy Easter.